Hey everyone, this is Ashley in the editor's booth welcoming you to our second special August episode. Season 5 begins in September, but rather than going dark for this month, we thought we'd offer you a peek behind the scenes by sharing one of the perks usually reserved for our Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee members. We release one minisode every month, sometimes related to the theme for the month and sometimes not. They're usually shorter and a bit more casual. This particular episode is the one that got bumped from our November 2024 A Few of Our Favorite Things theme when The Fugitive turned out to be a two-parter. It's also the episode chosen by our friends in our private Facebook group, Armchairs and Tea, as the one they most wanted to hear. That said, please enjoy our episode on a beloved show from my childhood, Murder, She Wrote. If you'd like to listen to the rest of our catalog, consider becoming a member through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. You can find the link to both on our website, scandalwaterpodcast.com. We hope you enjoy the episode. Cheers!
The curtain opens in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Candy.
Hey, Ashley.
How are you this lovely day?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. It's pretty outside. That always helps.
I know it does. So we are doing our minisode for this month, and because my first choice, The Fugitive, took 2 weeks.
That's right.
Instead of just the anticipated one, I have decided to put my other one as our minisode. My other choice.
Good idea.
Yes. So my choice for my other favorite thing is Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
Do you know anything about this show?
Well, I mean, I do now.
Yeah.
My mom watched it. I wasn't an old soul as a young person
As
you
yes.
were.
Me and your
so
mom watching it.
It did. I'll be honest. It did not draw me in.
Yeah.
It wasn't my thing. But I do remember my mom watched it, and I knew the premise, of course. But this was actually my first time watching it.
Oh wow! Well, as the kids say, Angela Lansbury had a chokehold on my childhood because she was in Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which didn't come out during my childhood, but it was something that I saw as a kid. And then
Right.
she was Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast,
True.
and then Murder, She Wrote.
And since we've started our podcast, she was in Gaslight.
That's right.
Yes, and I'm trying to. Didn't she come up somewhere else as well?
She was I think she was in the original version of Sweeney Todd.
Okay,
on Broadway.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for this lady.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she is a talented actress who she was. I mean, she's passed now, but this woman had a long career and did a lot of various things with great talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it so happens, I did not know this when I chose this, but it just so happens that this is the 40th anniversary of the premiere of Murder, She Wrote.
Oh,
I mean, not today, but this year.
Right, that worked out really well.
It did. You know, I love little ties like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so because this is a mini-sode, we're going to try to get this done in under 30 minutes. I don't know if it'll happen. I hope it does. But for those of you who do not know, and I really recommend that before you listen to this, you go and watch the first episode, the premiere episode, and don't make the mistake that I did. I made this mistake twice. So I tuned in and you had already seen it. And you told me it ended on a cliffhanger and I didn't remember what the premiere episode was. So I was on the treadmill and I was watching this beautiful island location and I thought, what a weird way to start this show, but it's so pretty and how odd. And it didn't end on a cliffhanger. And I realized I watched season 2,
That's right.
episode 1. And then I thought, I'm not going to do it again. And I went and I found it and I started it. And I thought, again, what an odd way to start this show. And it was apparently they did 4 movies after the series ended. And I started watching the first 5 minutes and taking copious notes on the film. And I thought, no, Angela looks a lot older here. And that's the only thing that clued me in.
Yeah.
Because on Amazon, it says new, it says Murder, She Wrote new season 1, episode 1. I went, oh, it's the new version of this? No, it's the movies.
Thank goodness you figured it out after only 5 minutes.
Third time was the charm.
Well, and when you say ended on a cliffhanger, so basically the pilot actually is 2
It's a
episodes.
2-parter.
Yeah, it's 2 parts.
Yeah. Which is the only reason I knew I would have come at this episode going, that tropical location, Candy. And you would have said, what?
Hang on.
We watched 2 different shows. All right, so the history of the show, and I took most of this from Wikipedia. It was an American crime drama television series created by Peter Fisher, Richard Levinson, and William Link. The title comes from Murder, She Said, which was the title of a 1961 film adaptation of Agatha Christie's Miss Marple novel 450 from Paddington. So the series focuses on the life of Jessica Fletcher, a mystery writer and amateur detective who becomes involved in solving murders that take place in a fictional town of Cabot Cove, Maine, across the U.S. and abroad. So something I did not realize is that it was originally developed as a vehicle for actress Jean Stapleton.
Oh.
Yeah, and she dropped out, which kind of made the producers freak out a little bit. Like, what are we going to do? We've got this great show. And the reason is the character of Jessica Fletcher was intended to be a combination of Miss Marple, Agatha Christie herself, and Adrienne Oliver, which is a character that Agatha Christie wrote to be her fictional representative in her own books.
Yeah.
Adrienne Oliver is like a writer in Agatha Christie novels. So it's supposed to be all this in a little bag. And now she's dropped out. So they thought, and they realized that Angela Lansbury had actually played Miss Marple in the feature film The Mirror Cracked, even though that film didn't do very well, which I believe it had Elizabeth Taylor in it.
Oh.
But they said, okay, well, at least she knows who Miss Marple is. They played her. They thought she could be the right big name to draw in viewers, but they weren't sure that Angela would like doing TV because at this point she's mostly known for film and Broadway.
Right.
But you never know until you ask. So they ask, and she said, I think I could do this, and accepted the part, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little bit about the history of this program, about the numbers. It ran for 12 seasons, from September 30th, 1984 to May 19th, 1996.
It's a long-running show.
264 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah. This was a massive hit for CBS. It became one of the most successful and longest running TV shows in history, averaging 25 million viewers per week in its prime.
That's a lot. That's a
lot. Now, for her role, she was nominated for 10 Golden Globes, and she won 4. She was also nominated for 12 Emmys, 1 for every single season of the show, but she never won.
I saw that trivia note too, and I was impressed. That's
was.
pretty amazing to get
That is.
nominated every single season. That's awesome.
And it's also pretty impressive that she never won. Out of all those 12, I mean, it's like sadly impressive. Like, really? You couldn't give it to her one of those years?
Right. Yeah.
And the series itself also received 3 Emmy nominations for Outstanding Drama and 6 Golden Globes in the same category with 2 major wins. And here's where I got messed up. After the series finished in 96, we had 4 TV films, which were released from 97 to 2003. So she played this character from 1984 to 2003.
And she was 58, I believe, when she started.
Yes.
So that means she went from, how many years did you just say? 58 to...
It was 84 to 2003. Basically. So I would have been
19?
4 to 23.
Wow. So she basically went from 58 to 77?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Okay, now here is the premise. And again, this is from Wikipedia because I don't do like Candy does and take from many sources. I just find one I like and I go, that sounds good to me. So we're going to go just with this. And I'm just going to kind of give you the basics out of here. So the show revolves around the day-to-day life of Jessica Fletcher. She's a widowed and retired English teacher who becomes a successful mystery writer. But despite all of her fame and fortune, she stays in her hometown, and it is a fictional hometown called Cabot Cove. One thing that I thought was funny is she usually pieces together clues. She's kind of like Miss Marple, where things that happen in her small town, she relates to what's happening in the crime. And she's like, oh, this reminds me of the time that this happened. And this is what it says in Wikipedia. Murder occurred with such regularity in her vicinity that the term Cabot Cove syndrome was coined to describe the constant appearance of dead bodies in remote locations.
Funny.
Indeed, if Cabot Cove existed in real life, it would top the FBI's national crime statistics in numerous categories, with some analysis suggesting that the homicide rate in Cabot Cove exceeds even that of real-life murder capital of the world.
Ooh.
All right, so her relationship with the law enforcement officials is what you would expect. She is meddlesome. She gets in their business. They eventually allow her to help with the case.
Which is interesting because listening to you share the summary, we were watching the pilot, and that's where you establish a lot of these things. So a lot of the things that you mentioned actually came out. That exposition came out in the pilot.
Yes. Let me skip. We'll do our talk about the episode as a whole in a minute, but I'll give you some trivia for the show as a whole. The harbor of Jessica's hometown, Cabot Cove, is actually the Jaws Lake on the Universal Studios tram tour. I loved that. That was a connection. Her middle name on Murder, She Wrote was Beatrice, which was a nod to her best friend, B. Arthur. I did not know that they were best friends.
I didn't know that either, but I saw the same trivia note. Did you see that that's also where they came up with Jessica's late husband's name, Frank?
No, what was
That's
that?
also a nod to B. Arthur because her birth name was Bernice Frankel.
That is so sweet.
I know. I would never have put the two of them
No,
together.
absolutely
I was
not.
like, wait a minute.
That's not that that's lovely, but it's just not, you don't think of them being in the
No.
same circles. So that's
No.
wonderful. Something I did not know until I read the trivia section, because again, I watched this show mostly when I was a kid, is that Jessica Fletcher did not drive. Isn't that interesting? That she was always driven places. She took public transportation. And for the show, they didn't have cell phones. So it's the only way that she could question a suspect, which she got in a car with the suspects. Like, let me question you about the murder. But that's the way they had her communicate.
I didn't get to see that. So you can tell me if this doesn't hold true for the rest of the series. But I thought it was really nice in terms of character development that we saw her being so active, and she's on a bike.
Yes!
It seemed like the bike was a mode of transportation for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This show became the most binged watched show of 2022 following her death.
Oh.
I know. And there was a crossover with Magnum PI, which I thought in the annals of my brain, I thought Angela Lansbury, wasn't she on Magnum PI? She was.
Really?
Yes. They showed the first half of the episode, I think, was on Magnums. And the second half, like the finish to the mystery, was on Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, that was smart.
It is smart.
Yeah, that was a crowd pleaser, I'm sure.
And something fun for those of you who love Beauty and the Beast like I do, Jerry Orbach was a recurring actor on the show, and David Ogden Stiers was a guest star, so Mrs. Potts, Lumiere, and Cogsworth solved a crime together at some point.
That's adorable.
It is adorable. Yeah. Okay, my final little trivia note for you before we hop into the episode as a whole is there is a YouTube channel called Pushing Up Roses where the author watches and makes introspective, what she calls, quote, introspective comedic videos on classic TV, movies, and games, including several on the Murder, She Wrote series. I've seen a few episodes. It's very cute. It's a mix of riffing on the show and admiring it. So,
nice.
So now we are going to talk about the episode as a whole.
All right.
Now that I've very quickly wrapped all this up for you.
That was a nice overview.
Thank you. Okay, here is the IMDb episode synopsis. It says, quote, former English teacher Jessica Fletcher travels to New York to celebrate the success of her debut novel. But when an unwanted guest is murdered by gunfire at a costume party, she wishes she'd stayed home. I like
She
that.
wished she'd stayed home even before then.
She did. She really did. She really did. So my first note is something that's a little, it ties into something that I did. The music, that opening, that just opened up nostalgia for me. And the font is important because as my little tribute to Murder, She Wrote, that is the same font that I chose to use for He Needed Killing.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wanted the Murder, She Wrote font. I found it and I used it for our show.
Yeah, cool. Well, not being the aficionado of this show, I'm coming into it with this very open mind.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of analyzing just from a balcony perspective, if you will. And so I was thinking, okay, a pilot, you're supposed to establish the opening, you're supposed to hook the audience, you're supposed to give important exposition and launch the premise of the show and set a tone. And I'm like, that's what they do from the very beginning. From your theme song and the title, Sherlock Holmes is in the title.
Yes.
Your theme song is clearly showing her in all these little mystery solving scenes, but also showing her to be a very active woman, because I think that was an ongoing theme, is this idea that, oh, we may write off people because they're older. This woman is on it. And
she is more active at this age than I am at my age. At any time I have been, at any age, I thought, wow, she is super active and I am not, and I need to do better.
She's motivating you.
She's motivating me.
But even just in the opening, I was like, look at how many things we've established. We've set the tone. We've established this is going to be about mysteries. We've introduced the character in a way, and we've introduced the setting in a way, because you kept seeing all these different parts of this lovely little town.
She's waving, and it's very small, and everybody knows each other. Yeah. Yes, I loved it. And I thought the way that she became a writer is both adorable and completely impractical, because it doesn't happen in real life. Where do I get an nephew like hers?
I know, right?
So if you didn't see the episode, what happens is she basically writes this little book. Oh, I just wrote it for fun, and I put it aside, and her nephew, who happens to have connections to the publishing world, took it against her will, or didn't tell her, and he sent it to a publisher who wants to publish it. I thought, really?
And within no time, I mean, it seems like it's almost overnight. It's not only been published, but it's like number 2.
There's a scene of her, and she's watching her little bookstore, and it says like the 8th bestseller, and he takes it down, and she's like, oh, there it went. It's all over. And then he puts number 2 bestseller. And it's like, oh, look at me go.
I know. You know, if I can just comment for a second, one of the things that you have to do in any show is you have to have a hook. And so this particular one, we had this scene that looks like it's in a castle, Victorian, this woman coming down the steps, the music's playing, it's all dramatic.
Yes.
And of course we find out it's a play.
Yes.
In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, look what we're doing, because they had their hook, which was a misdirection in a way. But then we have Jessica sitting there with 2 women who are the stereotypical, I'm not saying this because I believe it, but it's the stereotype, these inconsequential older women who are no good for anything except supporting others.
Yes.
We're the PTA refreshment
baked
committee.
goods.
We're only here to like support you guys and give you baked goods. And then almost immediately she turns that on her ear because she has only seen part of this play, but she
can
tells the
predict it.
fella she's figured it all out and basically ruins his day because she's able to deduce all this. And I'm like, look at this from the very beginning. We are showing, I think it definitely had an audience of older people, and there definitely is that theme of look what we can do. Yes. Don't write us off.
I showed the opening scene to my mom because I told her this is something that you would do. So I didn't tell her anything else. So we're watching the opening scene and she's like, that girl, she's a really kind of stiff actress. That's more like stage acting, isn't it? And I was like, it is. It is, Mom. And then you realize that it is on stage. That's the reveal. And then when Jessica stands up and she's like, I forget who the killer is. She said, it's the uncle that's the killer, right? And how she's telling the writer, and she's like, yeah, I would definitely do that. I would definitely tell, here's everything that I figured out, and that's the way it was. I thought that was funny. Another thing about older people that you may write off, Jessica Fletcher could get it. She is flirting with all these men, and they are flirting right back.
Right.
And they are all about her.
And it's funny because, well, I mean, part of it was the time period. It was the 80s, so you had different hairstyles and clothing choices than what we have today. On the flip side, they also sometimes purposefully, I think, tried to put her in things that made her look a little bit more staid, a little more,
matronly.
Right. I'm not going to take us down the road. I'm just going to make a comment. We see her at one point in a costume, and I am like, Jessica
Fletcher.
Girl, I mean, she's
beautiful.
She is gorgeous in her figure.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that was important to her.
Flirt away.
Get it, sister. And I just like, really? Go, Jessica Fletcher.
Right.
They love you. I did like the costume party idea for your first episode. I thought that's fun. It's something fun to look at. I liked the guest stars, and a comment I want to make about the guest stars that I had always heard, and I looked it up and this is correct. I'd always heard that she would hire actors for her show to help them keep their insurance. And then I read on the IMDb trivia the confirmation of that. She made it a practice to hire actors who may have quote unquote aged out of the game because it allowed them to earn union points they needed for insurance and pensions.
Yes.
I thought that was awesome.
I love that because it shows character on her part. You know, she takes this lead role in this ongoing TV show that ends up being a huge hit, but she's going to help other people too.
One of the sentences that I thought was just beautiful was, flowers that bloom too quickly are fair game for a late frost. And she was talking about that, where the publisher was really hitting on her hot and heavy and wanting to get this relationship with her, and she was putting the brakes on it. She's like, this is going too fast.
Right.
And she said that as a way of explanation. I thought, what a poetical sentence.
Yeah, that was good. This is a comment about another ongoing theme, which I think they started to develop from the very beginning, and then they did a good job of, I mean, it just kept coming back and coming back throughout the entire thing, which was the idea of celebrating small town life.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways it would even hit you over the head because it was comical the way they would...
The big city interviews.
It was comical, but they were also just driving home that point again and again. Small town life, the beauty of small town life, the wonder of having friends there in this, you know, kind of maybe a simpler, more friendly, lovely way to live in her Cabot Cove.
I loved Cabot Cove. I want to live in Cabot Cove.
It's gorgeous.
Being that I had not seen the pilot in, I don't even know if I ever caught it, I was both wildly complimented and deeply offended that the main suspect she was after was named Ashley.
Oh.
I was like, let it alone, Jessica. Maybe she's not the bad guy. Oh, they're using my name. It was both. I had both those emotions simultaneously. Can you imagine the show that you love going back and then one of the bad guys has your name? You're like, oh, it's me, but it's not me. We would never do something like that. So that was just something funny.
Every Ashley has to be a good person just because
it's like
they
the
have
Apple
your name.
It's like the Apple products. You know, have you heard that? If you want to know in a film if the bad guy is a bad guy, just see if they're using an Apple product, because Apple will not allow the villain to use their product.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding you. So
I've never heard that before.
Yep. Okay. So here's something negative about Jessica Fletcher, her character. She has zero spatial awareness. Zero spatial awareness. If this was not a TV show, she would be dead so many times, because who follows a suspect to the sketchy side of town and then expects a purse thief to let her pass? Girlfriend, do you not watch Dateline? wanted to say.
I thought you meant spatial, like sometimes getting in people's
That
personal
too.
space.
No,
That's what
that
I thought
too.
you were going to say,
No,
because a
that
couple
too.
of times I saw that. I was like, it's your nephew. Back up a little bit.
Give the man some room
I
to
know.
breathe.
Come on.
No, she has no awareness of her surroundings.
Right. Yes.
She just
she
thinks
gets so sucked into her deductive reasoning.
she's nosy. She's very
is a
nosy
busybody.
and she's meddlesome, and I love her to death.
She is very much the likable, smart, but sometimes, what do you call it? The professors, the absent-minded.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's the absent-minded detective.
Well, because she just doesn't realize that you could be dead. I mean, if that one kid hadn't stepped in, she was going to get knifed.
Right.
Right there. And then there'd be no more Murder, She Wrote. The series would be over.
Well, and I will say that was another thing I noticed. You can tell me if this does not hold true throughout, but I'm making an assumption. It's a TV show. TV shows have formulas, whether it's a sitcom or whether it's a mystery or a drama, they have formulas. And so I'm not critiquing it. I'm applauding it. That's what you do, right? You have a hook at the beginning. Before every commercial break, you should have a little cliffhanger. If you're going to end one episode, you need to leave us hanging. So we're going to come back next week. And so I would see where they're like, this is a 2-part episode. We need some places where we can build the suspense and give a little cliffhanger to the audience. And that was another moment where they could kind of give us some extra tension and also drive home the point. She'd rather be in Cabot Cove.
Yes. I've only got a couple more notes about this episode because I don't want to give away everything about the episode if you do decide to watch it, but I am about to give a little bit of a spoiler.
Okay.
So if you don't want to hear who done it, maybe just skip ahead a minute or so. So I also noted that her bravery is off the charts. Thinking of myself. No way would I go to a home by myself. And I thought, well, at least you asked the cabbie to stay. I half expected her to be like, no, it's cool. I'll find a way home or I'll walk in the dark. It's all right. So she at least did that. But then I felt so sorry for her because she finally finds romance. She finally finds it. And he's the one that did it. So I won't say who it was. But I thought, oh man, you know, you had a chance for happiness and then this happened. But speaking of that, I want to know what kind of power she has that after she correctly accuses this guy of murder, she turns her back on him and he doesn't push her in the pool.
I literally, that was the part I had the
Or
biggest
shoot
issue
her.
with because I had issues
He said,
with that.
I'll go turn myself in. Will you go with me?
It was supposed to be this high tension, but I mean, obviously we knew she was going to be fine because she
Yes.
goes on to do another 120 episodes. But to me,
That
I was
was
like,
so
Jessica.
unrealistic.
Yeah, it was so unrealistic because you know he murdered somebody else. It's not like you think he's incapable.
He
That's
murdered
right.
two.
That's true.
One to cover up the other one.
Right. And so you just are going to trust
Yes.
that he's not going to...
That your power of love or perfume or feminine wiles or whatever you got going on is going to protect you. And it did.
I had major eye rolls all through that section.
I did
I
too.
was like, come on.
Brian and I were like, he's going to push her in the pool. He's going to shoot her in the back. Oh, well, of course he's not going to. But at least we figured he was going to push her in the pool. Nope.
Something.
And make a run for it.
Yeah,
He did not.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that power. Some man would have dispatched me long ago. He'd have been like, boop, and run off. So that is all the notes that I took. That's just my overview of, because it's a mini-sode, so we don't want to wax poetic for very long, but I just wanted to share with you this fantastic, ridiculous, wonderful, cozy show that I have loved for a long time. And I've fallen off. And I guess, you know, another reason I love it is it reminds me of a specific time in my life where I would go to my grandma's house or my grandparents' house, and I would be in their living room and their giant TV, and I would watch this and Father Dowling Mysteries and Quantum Leap at 10 o'clock. And then I would get on their little rickety half-inch mattress couch bed, you know, and sleep and hear the clocks and all that. So it just reminds me of this.
Nostalgic.
It's nostalgic.
And it's safe. Like you have that sense of being in their home, safe, happy,
Well,
those memories.
I don't know about happy, but it was a definite moment of time where, I don't know, that I felt comfortable, like these were my friends. And I could tune in every week and they would be okay.
And it was solved.
Yes.
Things, you had resolution,
Yes.
and there's everything is right with the world by the
Yes.
end of the episode.
Yes. For someone who suffers from a lot of anxiety, being able to tune into something where you know it's going to be okay at the end of the episode, that's really comforting.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we love about mysteries is in our own lives we have so many unsolved, unresolved, terrible things, but at the end of every mystery,
Jessica's going to figure it out.
That's right. That's right.
So if you guys get a chance, it's on Amazon Prime. Tune into the right one. It's Brian Keith is the special guest star, so you can look for the one that stars Brian Keith and enjoy this just beautiful little show. I think there's also now a Roku channel where it's nothing but Murder, She Wrote. I haven't looked into it, but you might be able to find that.
Well, you also have a little slice of the 80s.
Yes, you did. And
Yeah,
so much of that
yeah.
reminded me of that time period. It
Yeah.
was like going back in time, and I felt like, oh, I feel so nostalgic for this. I love it.
Well, thank you for sharing another of your
welcome.
favorite things with us.
You're welcome. And I guess we'll see you next month.
See ya.
Bye.
If you love what we do, please rate and review our show. Or you can become a supporter by making a donation through buymeacoffee.com/scandalwaterpod. Whether a single gift or a recurring monthly donation, it would go a long way towards supporting our work and allowing us to keep the tea brewing.
At our website, www.scandalwaterpodcast.com, you can submit questions or your own story ideas, access our sources and show notes, see the merch we offer for sale, and more. You can join the Scandal Water community through our Scandal Water Podcast Facebook page or follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Scandal Water Podcast.
This episode was executive produced by Candy Thomas, that's me, and Ashley Raymer Brown.
That's me.
It was researched and written by Candy Thomas and edited by Ashley Raymer Brown.
A special thank you to Josh Martin, who wrote, composed, and performed the Scandal Water theme and other music. Matt C. Adams, who created the artwork, and Joshua Reith, who designed our website and provides ongoing technical support.
As a reminder, this podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. The thoughts and opinions of the host during each episode of Scandal Water are their own and do not reflect the opinions of any future guests, advertisers, or clearly professional psychologists. Thanks for listening.